Hello. Welcome back. Good to have you. You ever thought for a moment about the things we say to God? The things you say? The things I say? God really loves us a lot. And it's not so much just based on how good he is to us. It's the things he allows us to say to him. An almighty, all-concerning, a God in total control who loves us immensely and still lets us speak to him in ways that if we really knew what we were saying, we'd recognize was not very complimentary. Have you ever said to God, in view of some circumstances or something that happened, Lord, that's unfair? You ever felt that some things that has happened to you that God allowed was unfair? Okay, let's look at something because this was interesting. I was thinking the other day. The things that we say to God without really knowing what we're saying, because that's a term we use. Lord, this is so unfair. What I'm going through is so unfair. Unfair, the definition, is marked by injustice, partiality, or deception. Unfair, that's the definition. Okay, let's go back and look at a few synonyms. Those are words that are spelled different and sound different but mean the same thing. Let's look at some words that mean the same as unfair. Dirty, below the belt, immoral. Are we really saying to God, Lord, that's below the belt? That's an immoral thing to allow. That was unjust, Lord. That's shabby. That's another synonym for unfair. Another word that exemplifies unfair: rotten, nasty, shameful. Are those the things we want to say to a true and living God? I think one of the things that we should recognize, and I'm saying all of this for this reason, at least know what you're saying. Know what you're saying. Don't just say anything to God out of total ignorance. Know what you're saying. Know that when you say, Lord, this is unfair. You're treating me unfair. What I'm going through is unfair. You're saying, Lord, you're dishonorable. Lord, you're unethical. Lord, you're just low. You're unscrupulous. You're unrighteous. Because when we use that term, unfair, those are some of the many meanings that unfair connotes. Are those the things we want to say to God? I think we should be more cognizant of what we're saying. I think we should take more responsibility for what we say. Know what you're saying. If you feel a certain way about God, find out what that word means and find out the other meanings that it can have. Because I realize I've never said that often in my lifetime. But now when I think about it, that's not something I want to tell God. I don't want to look at God and say, you know, you're so unscrupulous, you're unfair, you're so low, you're so dirty, you're unfair. You're so dishonorable and unethical, you're unfair. But we do think that we have a right to say things to God that we have no knowledge about. And we need to step it up. We need to step that up. We need to become more accountable for the things we say. Well, if that's the case, we want to certainly be accountable for the things we say to God and careful, then we ought to be accountable for the things we say to each other. I think about how many times I've used certain words that I thought I knew exactly what they meant, and actually I was saying a lot of ugly things about someone that you ultimately care about. But the things we say to God, let's be careful what we say. Let's know exactly what we're saying. And if we don't know exactly what we're saying, how about not saying it at all? God really loves Jake Gaines because the truth of the matter is, I've said some things to him that I never thought I would ever say because out of ignorance, I didn't know I said them. Let's be careful and know what we're talking about when we talk to God. Do like I had to do. Think about it.